You are listening to NOAA weather radio station KIH-24 in Tallahassee, Florida, operating 24 hours a day on a frequency of 162.40 megahertz. This broadcast originates from your National Weather Service office in Tallahassee, Florida. The latest weather and forecast information can also be accessed by calling our automated forecast line at 850-942-8851. Hurricane warning remains in effect. What? West winds 55 to 75 knots with gusts up to 105 knots and seas 21 to 26 feet. Where? Appalachia Bay or coastal waters from Keaton Beach to Ocklawahnee River, Florida out to 20 nautical miles. Coastal waters from Mexico Beach to Apalachicola, Florida out 20 nautical miles. Coastal waters from Ocklawahnee River to Apalachicola, Florida out to 20 nautical miles. Coastal waters from Swampy River to Keaton Beach, Florida out 20 nautical miles. Waters from Apalachicola to Mexico Beach, Florida from 20 to 60 nautical miles, and waters from Swampy River to Apalachicola, Florida from 20 to 60 nautical miles. When? Tropical storm force winds possible from Thursday morning until early Friday morning. Hurricane force winds possible from Thursday afternoon until early Friday morning. Impacts. Extremely strong winds will cause hazardous seas which will likely capsize or damage vessels and severely reduce visibility. Mariners should remain in port, alter course, and or secure the vessel for extreme conditions. A hurricane warning remains in effect for the following counties. In Florida: Calhoun, Franklin, Gadsden, Gulf, Jackson, Lafayette, Leon, Liberty, Madison, and Taylor, and the following counties. In Georgia: Baker, Van Hill, Berrien, Brooks, Calhoun, Clay, Colquitt, Cook, Decatur, Doherty, Early, Grady, Irwin, Lanier, Lee, Lowndes, Miller, Mitchell, Quitman, Randolph, Seminole, Terrell, Thomas, Tift, Turner, and Worth. Tropical storm warning remains in effect. What? Northwest winds 25 to 35 knots with gusts up to 55 knots and seas 14 to 19 feet. Where? Coastal waters from Mexico Beach to Okaloosa, Walton County line, Florida out 20 nautical miles, and waters from Mexico Beach to Okaloosa, Walton County line, Florida from 20 to 60 nautical miles. When? Tropical storm force winds possible from Thursday morning until early Friday morning. Impacts. Very strong winds will cause hazardous seas which could capsize or damage vessels and reduce visibility. Mariners should alter plans to avoid these hazardous conditions. Remain in port, seek safe harbor, alter course, and or secure the vessel for severe conditions. Helene forecast to make landfall as a major hurricane along the Florida Big Bend on Thursday. New information changes to watches and warnings. None current watches and warnings. A storm surge warning and hurricane warning are in effect for coastal Dixie, coastal Franklin, coastal Jefferson, coastal Taylor, coastal Wakulla, inland Dixie, inland Jefferson, and inland Wakulla. A hurricane warning and storm surge watch are in effect for coastal Gulf. A hurricane warning is in effect for Baker, Van Hill, Berrien, Brooks, Calhoun, Clay, Colquitt, Cook, Decatur, Doherty, Early, Gadsden, Grady, inland Franklin, inland Gulf, inland Taylor, Irwin, Jackson, Lafayette, Lanier, Lee, Leon, Liberty, Lowndes, Madison, Miller, Mitchell, Quitman, Randolph, Seminole, Terrell, Thomas, Tift, Turner, and Worth. A tropical storm warning is in effect for central Walton, coastal Bay, Coffee, Dale, Geneva, Henry, Holmes, Houston, Inland Bay, North Walton, South Walton, and Washington. Situation overview. Hurricane Helene is forecast to strengthen today before rapidly strengthening over the eastern Gulf of Mexico and become a major hurricane on Thursday. Helene is near the northeastern Yucatan Peninsula this morning, moved into the eastern Gulf of Mexico later today, and reached the Big Bend coast of Florida on Thursday as a major hurricane. Confidence is increasing for significant to potentially catastrophic impacts across our region, including high winds, catastrophic and life-threatening storm surge in Appalachia Bay, flash flooding from heavy rainfall, and a few tornadoes. Helene is a large storm and impacts will extend well outside the cone of uncertainty. Preparations should be completed by this evening as conditions deteriorate Wednesday night and Thursday. Wind threat. It is increasingly likely that Helene will make landfall along the Florida Big Bend coast on Thursday as a major hurricane. While exact impacts will be heavily dependent on the eventual track, expect catastrophic wind damage near the eventual landfall point and inland along the track. Widespread and prolonged power outages, damage to critical infrastructure, catastrophic damage to the trees and power lines, widespread inaccessibility due to blocked roads, and damage to well-built structures will all be possible, particularly close to and east of the track. Power outages will likely last days, if not weeks, near where it makes landfall. Due to the quick forward speed of Helene, significant wind damage may extend well into Georgia. Search threat: there is a danger of catastrophic and potentially unforgivable storm surge for Appalachia Bay. Storm surge may begin to arrive as early as late Wednesday night ahead of the winds. This forecast, if realized, is a nightmare search scenario for Appalachia Bay. Please take any evacuation orders seriously. Flooding rain threat: widespread heavy rainfall is forecast with this system and will likely lead to both flash flooding and riverine flooding. Heavy rainfall is possible ahead of Helene today, perhaps enhancing the overall flooding threat on Thursday as Helene moves through the area. Even though the hurricane is forecast to be moving quickly, very high rainfall rates and already saturated soils in some places will still combine for a serious flood risk across the region. Be prepared for flash flooding and quickly rising rivers and streams. A flood watch is in effect for the entire area. Tornadoes: while not the highest threat with the system, a few tornadoes will be possible along and east of the eventual track.